What's up, guys? This is Ian here, coach of your Liner Lantern, bringing you guys the playoff picture for Week 7. Sorry if you guys have seen the initial video for this. I'm actually probably just going to leave it up because I'm slightly lazy I'm slightly too lazy to delete it, and I also think that it's a good starting point for the playoff picture series. So if you guys have already seen that, then this is version 2, and I will label it as version 2 in the title so that no one's confused. But I was actually incorrect with what I was saying in the initial version of Playoff Picture, and I've now had my facts verified. It actually helps that the week is finished because I tried to do it with like 3 matches left to play, and my math was all wrong because I couldn't visualize it properly. And I know I'm making excuses, but that's legitimately why it wasn't working, and why my math was wrong. So let's get right into things here then. Talk about the playoff seeding rules. First rule is division winners automatically make playoffs, and we'll go through the divisions in a second. The next best records from each conference will take the final 2 playoff spots. These are called Wildcard 1 and Wildcard 2. 8 teams will make playoffs. The way that this next best records thing works is that it means that the next best teams in the conference make it, rather than the next team in a division, because there historically have been fairly weak divisions and fairly strong divisions, and that holds true for season 2. So I still strongly believe this is the best rule. And then last but not least, placing is determined based on number of wins, then differential, then conference wins, then head-to-head record. And if there's still a tie somehow, then a tiebreaker match will occur. So it is possible to have a tie if you're in a tie with the person that you played in week 12. That's the only way that you can have a tie by the end of the season. And I believe all of the week 12 matches are out of conference, which I can actually double check. That one's interconference. That one could be huge. So I see 2 interconference, out of conference, out of conference, out of conference, out of conference. So there's 2 interconference ones. One of the matches probably won't matter at all. The other one actually could be affected. So we may actually see a tiebreaker this season. We'll sort of see how that goes. The match that I'm talking about is Seattle Raptors versus Cleveland Cavaliers. That could be a really big match in Week 12, just based on how Daniel is pulling back his season. So there are currently no teams clinched, no teams eliminated as of Week 7. This may change in Week 8, which is why I'm making this video, is because there are clinching opportunities in Week 8. And initially in the first edition, I had only said there's one team with an opportunity to clinch, and it was uh, not a hugely favorable for him to clinch necessarily, but there are actually 3 teams that can clinch, and one of the teams can clinch a division, which is crazy, as of Week 8, which is absolutely insane because then there's still 4 weeks left, and that coach has nothing to play for those 4 weeks, which is just, I don't know, that's just kind of crazy to me. He can just do weird sets. So we'll see if that happens, because then it'll be interesting to see how he finishes out his season. So, in terms of players designations, I will allot these as in the series as the series goes on. But Z means team has clinched their division. Sorry. Y means they've clinched a playoff berth, either a wildcard spot or is in line to potentially win the division. So there's 2 teams that will be Y by the end of this week potentially, and one team that will be a Z. And X means that they've been mathematically eliminated from playoffs. This will be more of a potential in week. I think it's week. By the end of week 9, we'll be able to see this. So 2 more episodes after this one. So the current standings in each division you can see on your screen there. Wilkes Reward Total is leading the Little Root division, with the Seattle Raptors not far behind, and then the UNC Wingles pretty far behind. In the Old division, you have a pretty clumped up area there with the Green Bay Glypods in the lead, Cleveland Cavaliers in second, and the Adelaide Overheat in third. In the Twin Leaf division, the Krabby Tabbies have a huge lead on his um, division right now, with Detroit Terrafolds and the Snow Point City Blizzard not having a strong season. And then in the San Gem division, it's all crammed up there as well, with the Tampa Bay Weasels 6-1 in first, Liner Lantern 5-2, and the Atlantis Raptors in third, 4-3, all one game apart from each other. In terms of the conference standings, you'll notice that the division leaders are typically at the top, but in the Sinnoh Conference there, my team is second in our division and second in the conference. So I would actually be the wildcard 1 seed right now, whereas the Krabby Tabbies, despite them being in third, are the division leaders. And then as well, it doesn't work that way in the home conference though. You have both of the wildcard spots in the 3 and 4 seeds, and the division leaders in the 1 and 2 seeds, which is typically how it goes, because the division leaders are typically the best teams in their conferences. But as you can see in the Sinnoh Conference, it's not working out that way. So Jed and the Adelaide Overheat, no clinching scenarios, no elimination scenarios. We're just going to zoom through the ones that have nothing Austin, the Atlantis Raptors, will have clinching scenarios fairly soon, but not currently. Cleveland Navs Cavaliers don't yet either. Hoenn Conference has no clinching possibility, so anyone in Hoenn we're just going to skip right through. Detroit Terravolts may be eliminated relatively soon, but not yet. Whoops, we just skipped over the Green Bay Glycopods. They don't have one either. Krabby Patties do have two opportunities to clinch different things. Well, one opportunity to clinch two different things. So um, if the Detroit Terravolts and the Snowpoint City Blizzard lose and the Krabby Patties win, then Cade will clinch not only playoffs, but his own division. So this is by the end of week 8, by the way. So by the end of week 8, there will be 4 matches left to play. And if this situation occurs, then Cade and the Krabby Patties will have a 5-game lead over both Nacho and Magic and will not be able to lose his division, which means he'll be guaranteed that playoff spot. 100% he will be guaranteed that playoff spot because neither of his divisional opponents will be able to catch him in wins, which also clinches in playoffs because he's going to be guaranteed his division spot. So realistically, he's clinching the division, but that's the first playoff spot that can be clinched. Is the Crab Cadavies if the Detroit Terravolts and the Snowpoint City Blizzard both lose. I can also clinch playoffs if the same thing happens, but I win. Luckily for me, I play the Snowpoint City Blizzard, so if I win that game, then all I have to rely on is Nacho losing, and then I can clinch playoffs based on that, because I will then have hit 6 wins, and both the Detroit Terravolts and Snowpoint City Blizzard will be stuck at 1. With 4 games left to go, they won't be able to catch me throughout the rest of the season, which is crazy because I can make playoffs with a 6-6 record, which is kind of a little bit scary based on how last season went. I barely clinched with a 10-2 record, so just a little bit sketched out this season. So it's realistically possible. That is only clinching potentially a wildcard position, which is probably most likely what I'm going to end up at, just based on the difficulty of the end of my season and how well Ben and the Tampa Bay Weasels are doing in our division right now. Corona can't clinch. Magic might be eliminated soon, but can't clinch. Ben can clinch, and this is where I screwed up in the initial one. He can actually make play. He can guarantee playoffs if Detroit, Terravolts, and the Snowpoint City both lose, or if he wins. Either one of those scenarios, he makes playoffs. So it's really likely that he's going to clinch playoffs this week. Very, very likely that he either takes the win off of Jed this week, or Snowpoint City and Detroit both lose. If they both lose, then he's already at 6 wins and they can't make 6 wins. And if he wins, then he'll be at 7 wins with 4 games left to go, and they can't, even if they both hit 2 wins, or even if one of them, even if one of them hits 2 wins, they won't be able to catch up to 7 wins. So Ben probably has the easiest time to clinch this week, and that's what we'll be looking for on Wednesday, potentially. He's playing Jed on Wednesday. And then to finish things off, the UNC Wingles and the Wiltshire War Turtles both do not have a chance to clinch. So this is a lot shorter than what my initial video was, which is probably good, but we actually have the right clinching and elimination scenarios going on for you now. Keep in mind the Hoenn Conference will likely not get clinching scenarios for quite a while, but you'll probably see the Sinnoh Conference decided relatively early into the season. Even both of the divisions might be settled relatively early, depending on how Ben finishes out his season and how myself and Austin finish out ours. So that is going to be it for me, and I will catch you guys for Playoff Picture Week 8, which will be formatted properly, and it will take place after the week is done. In fact, I'll likely do it further into Week 9 just to verify what I know and not screw things up. So I'll see you guys for that episode then.